Tonight, our special coverage on Israel's war in Palestine as Israel expands its ground offensive in southern Gaza. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Aisha Ashraf. Today is the 58th day since Israel started bombing Palestinians indiscriminately. Israel has resumed its airstrikes since the truce deal ended on Friday. Israeli warplanes have specifically targeted residential areas in the Al Zaytun and Al Shujayya neighborhoods of Gaza. The attacks have killed numerous innocent lives, with several families believed to be among the casualties. Israel's military has expanded its ground offensive in southern Gaza. Palestinian officials say more than 800 people have been killed since Saturday. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugee reports 80% of Gaza's population has been affected by Israel's offensive. It says approximately 1.2 million people have sought shelter in its 156 centers in Gaza. Israeli forces have detained 35 medical personnel, including the Director General of Al-Shifa Hospital. The death toll continues to rise. At the time of writing, at least 15,899 Palestinians have lost their lives since the onset of war. Israel has reported a death toll of 1,200. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has held a solo news conference, excluding Defense Minister Yoav Gallant from the meeting. The news comes after reports have emerged of differences between Netanyahu and top military officials regarding strategies in the Israeli offensive against Gaza. Reports say the rift between Netanyahu and Gallant has deepened related to the return of Israeli prisoners as part of a deal with Hamas. During the news conference, Netanyahu mentioned that he had suggested a joint press conference with Gallant, but did not comment on Gallant's absence. The solo news conference marks a shift in the previously united front between Netanyahu, Gallant, and other cabinet members. During the news conference, Netanyahu said the Israeli army has targeted 400 Hamas sites in the past 24 hours. And in related news, in a move to assist in the recovery of prisoners held by Hamas, the United Kingdom has announced the deployment of unarmed drones for surveillance flights over Gaza. The operation supports Israel's efforts to repatriate 130 remaining hostages from Gaza. The recent resumption of fighting by Israel has hindered hopes for the release of hostages still held in Gaza. The UK's Defense Ministry says the mission of the surveillance aircrafts is solely to locate hostages. It will share gathered information with relevant authorities responsible for rescue. A leading Israeli newspaper has exposed inaccurate and unverified accounts surrounding the Hamas attack on October 7th. The report details how Israeli officials, soldiers, and search and rescue volunteers provided information that led to the publication of false narratives. Most of these stories are centered around atrocities allegedly committed by Palestinian fighters. Israeli newspaper Haaretz reports that a rigorous cross-referencing of these claims shows clear discrepancies. The Israeli army now acknowledges mistakes in relaying these stories. Zaka, the Israeli volunteer rescue organization at the scene, also admits misinterpretations due to a lack of professional expertise. Several high-profile cases, such as 40 beheaded babies and children hung on clotheslines, have been debunked. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's assertion of Palestinians burning and executing children also has no substantiating evidence. The report raises questions about the accuracy of information disseminated during Israel's war in Palestine. Euromed Human Rights Monitor has called for an immediate independent international investigation into the tragic deaths of 5 newborn Palestinian children at Al-Nasser Hospital in Gaza. After the Israeli army forcibly evacuated the medical staff from the hospitals, these infants were left unattended for 3 weeks. Reports by the organization reveal the infants were found dead in a decomposing state in the hospital's nursery. The organization says the forcible eviction and the subsequent death of the infants constitute a horrific crime against humanity. The director of Al-Nasser Hospital, Dr. Mustafa Al-Khaloth, says he tried saving the lives of the infants by seeking help from international organizations, including the Red Cross. He says he received no response. He says he told an Israeli army officer that the infants could not be moved elsewhere without respirators. The officer said the Israeli army would take appropriate measures to protect the infants. Doctors from the hospital have testified that staff were forced to evacuate amidst gunfire and artillery attacks. They had no choice but to leave critically ill patients behind. Euromed Monitor is demanding accountability from the Israeli army and the Red Cross for their suspected negligence in saving lives. A man has been charged with 2 counts of assault after reports of 2 incidents of spitting on Muslim students at Western University in London, Ontario. The university's Special Constable Service has confirmed a male has been arrested in connection to the incidents. It is not known if the suspect is a student at the university. The accused is set to appear before the court. The university says since the onset of Israel's war in Palestine, there have been reports of Islamophobic and anti-Semitic acts on campus. It says it has a zero-tolerance policy towards hate and discrimination on campus. It says Western University is strongly committed to providing a safe and inclusive environment for all students. The Muslim Student Association welcomes the arrest. The association says the university should work on addressing the root causes. The National Council of Canadian Muslims is urging the University of British Columbia to enhance student safety. The Muslim advocacy group has expressed concern after offensive stickers with text "I love Hamas" appeared along the university's Social Justice Center logo on campus. The stickers target students advocating for Palestinian human rights. The perpetrator has been identified as an independent contractor associated with Hilal BC. Hilal BC is a Jewish organization that represents Jewish students and values on campus. Hilal BC says the contractor has now been removed. The National Council of Canadian Muslims is calling for a police investigation. It has launched a letter campaign addressed to the university administrators seeking accountability and future preventive measures. Thank you for watching. Our news is produced by Muslim Network TV, which is a not-for-profit organization. We need your support for donations. Please scan the QR code on our broadcast or visit muslimnetwork.tv to donate now, so we can continue to amplify the voices of Muslims in Canada and abroad.